Hello to all my friends out there. Hi, you guys. I hope everyone is doing okay. Well, it's starting to heat up here. It's not unbearable, but summer lasts until November here. I mean, there have been Halloweens that have been unbearably hot. So far, this hasn't been a hot one, but that means nothing. Okay, this video is eat the food you like, the food you're used to, just make it cheaper and healthier. So like how? Less meat if needs be. Okay, I only eat about a quarter pound of meat at night, not counting lunch meat. But last night I made a turkey burger Alfredo, and I had a bowl left and I ate that, and it was a lot of food, so now it wrecked my dinner. So what I'm going to do is I want to demonstrate this to you because one of my customers, a very kind of older lady, told me that when they were young they had butchered a cow. They had one piece of meat left and they were pretty sure it was going to be tough as an old shoe. So what they did is they wrapped it very tightly in foil so that the steam wouldn't escape and the meat was nice and tender. So this little piece of beef is part of a roast beef I made. I think I cut it in 4 pieces, and this is enough for 2 meals. So I want to use my method here because although this roast beef was good, it wasn't the most tender roast beef I have ever eaten in my life. It was good. I don't know where I got it. So I just want to, what I do is I season almost everything. You don't have to put oil, nothing, because the steam is, so I have some onion powder. I want to show you guys what I use because a lot of my followers aren't from America. Hi, if you're not from America. I love to watch those videos. Well, that side's going to have quite a bit of garlic. That is okay. And then I have some black pepper. And so I want to put some on the other side. So when you wrap this up, and then I'm roasting it at 250. On a little piece like this, it really doesn't take that long. I kind of like to go heavy on the pepper though. What this kind of meat is really good for is tacos. And what I like to do, and I just happen to have some in my freezer, is if you have flour tortillas, you can heat them in a pan until they kind of brown. And then you just put them in, put this kind of meat in there for tacos and add some salsa. It's really good. Okay, so now I want to wrap this meat up tight so that the steam doesn't escape. And then it really doesn't take too long. So, I mean, there's all ways you can do this, but this is how I do it. So I'm just trying to prevent any steam, and I don't open it either until I'm pretty 99% sure it's done. And you'll smell it roasting. So okay, so I have it closed up tightly. Okay, now I get one more piece of foil. This is one of those instances, and so I'm going to put the seed side down. This is one of those instances where that really good foil might be good to have. But, you know, foil is so expensive. I think I paid $6 for that foil. I don't try to save foil, so I just want to wrap this up really tight to try to make it impossible for my steam to escape. And I'm probably going to make tacos with this meat, but there's all kinds of things you can make with roast beef. You don't want any little seams, none, because believe me, the steam does everything it possibly can to escape. right, so there we have it. And I just slip it in the oven and it'll be ready shortly. Not super shortly, but in time. So I have some tea. I finally said, just go to Jack in the Box and pay $3 because what's happening is I'm coming up to the point in I've been withdrawing from Diet Coke where I really don't mind the tea that much, and I've been able to drastically reduce and in some cases totally reduce Diet Coke. And then I bought this for $3. The only thing is I like my tea unsweetened, but this is decaf. So I thought that is perfect for you at night. You with your problem. All right, so I want to keep my meals the way I've always had them because I'm incredibly healthy. That's probably only by God's grace. But if needs be, like if the cost becomes way too high, I want to substitute some cheese, some vegetables, maybe more carbs, like, you know, when you make the rice bowls. I notice with the bodybuilder rice bowls, they go to their bodybuilding restaurants and it's this size, and they say it's 1.5 cups, so it must be dry. And then they put like a steak on top of it because, you know, they eat high carb food. So more carbs. A lot of carbs and a whole lot of vegetables doesn't work for me, but more. Okay, eggs. Now that is a good one for me. I can add like an egg to a small salad. You know, that'll work. Soy. I am trying to grow soy. I am not successful, but I'm still trying. And nuts. Okay, nuts are good because you can make peanut butter, you can put nuts, but just to eat nuts, not so much. Okay, so eat the food you like, the food you're used to, just make it cheaper and healthier. Okay, so what I've been doing is less cooking meals. So with that meat, all I have to do is heat some flour tortillas and I have salsa, less cooking. The rice bowls, you have rice, you have meat, you have salsa, you have, you know, less cooking, good leftover. Okay, the meal I made last night was terrific leftover, actually. Food made out of your stockpile. Okay, that's where you can really save money, is by eating out of your stockpile part of the food. And then you get to the point where you don't really need food. So what you can do is what I did today is just buy some food for the stockpile. Okay. Now, I'm going through and say if there's food I like, I want to create a balanced meal, and I'm doing research. Okay, peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So you can make your own peanut butter. And then they say if you want to make it healthier, use whole grain bread and honey as opposed to jam. But if you have brown sugar, butter on both sides of your bread, peanut butter, and lightly dust with brown sugar, because I didn't want my son eating sugar, so I used to make that. And then you just shake off the excess brown sugar and they can get by on that. Or homemade jam. If you want jam, okay, jam season is coming up, so just you can make refrigerator jam, but once you learn how to can, you can water bath canned jam, and just don't put too much sugar in it. Or if you want to make refrigerator sugar, no sugar. So peanut butter made with honey and whole wheat bread. So I'm going to try to switch to my sandwich bread. Whole wheat bread is expensive, but it's one thing you can buy marked down, especially at Ralph's. Okay, grilled cheese sandwich. Okay, add wheat bread with a small vegetable or a fruit, like some kind of fruit. That's a pretty good meal. Okay, top ramen. Add eggs, Vienna sausages, or cheese, or tofu. French fries topped with chili. So I try to, what I do is I have been buying the potatoes marked down, but it's not that easy to find sweet potatoes, so I had to pay full price this week. But that doesn't mean that I will have to do that every week. Sometimes I can find it. French fries topped with chili. I have chili bean burrito with Spanish rice. So when you add the Spanish rice, you can make it homemade, but you can also just buy the box. Then you have a complete protein. And if you have a can of refried beans and you don't have any cheese, just heat your beans with a little oil and stir them until they become soft, and then add a little milk little by little, and then you get that same feeling as when you have cheese. Macaroni and cheese with chicken fingers, carrots, and celery. Okay, I stockpiled the big bags of the chicken dinos, and I also had vegetarian chicken fingers that I got marked down. So by keeping your eye out, that's something you can find at a good price. And then I like to eat chipotle hot sauce with that. Okay, now this is a good one, eggs. So you make, your scrambled eggs with cheese, and then just make a nice biscuit, either a can or homemade. So that's, eat the food you like that you're used to, just make it cheaper. So what I'm doing is, I mentioned to you guys, I'm going to the gym, and I thought, okay, the misery does not work for me. Just show up. If any of you ladies are older like me and you need a gym, go to Choose Gym. It's very friendly to like older women. They have treadmills, but they also have a weight circuit that anybody can do. But like when I first started, I used the lowest possible weights. I lifted very slowly, and I just increased my weight little by little. So you have to be careful. Okay, no, I was at the gym, and I had this very productive conversation with this guy, a nice guy. You see there all the time, and he was telling me that his wife has an awesome garden. And what she has is she bought this on Amazon. So I told my son to buy one for my daughter-in-law, because she's been doing a lot of work in the yard, and they're little metal stools, not too high, with a 2-inch cushion, and then they have little sides so you can hang like garden tools on it, so you don't wreck your knees and wreck your back. So finally, after months of this, it occurred to me that I could put a cushion under my knees when I was working on the stockpile under the table, because my knees were getting all bruised up. But how I messed myself up is I wanted to create this really great like above ground garden. It was coming along pretty great. I had these bricks, and I moved them all around to create like a 3-staired brick thing to put my plants on. And so the guy helped me a lot, and I told him, my garden has been really horrible. And he said, well, a lot of it has to do is, did you buy good plants? And I thought, no. He goes, well, did you try to grow them by seed? And I thought, yeah, out of my food. So for like survival, you might want to do that. So it's possible that my seeds were Terminator plants. That might have been it. So I've been doing that for 2 years. So that's possibly not the best plan. So that was really helpful at the gym. So, okay, now I want to talk about the stockpile. Okay, so the first thing I bought, I went to Smart and Final. I bought 10 cans of evaporated milk, because I realized I could make yogurt. And here is my homemade yogurt. So you can see there's a little whey in here. And so I wanted to mention this to you guys, because I'm trying to do the healthier lifestyle. And if I have homemade yogurt, I can be very happy with yogurt. Some people put fruit. instead of ice cream, because ice cream, so I'm going to try to remove the whey so that tomorrow I can make some fry bread. It doesn't have to be perfect. I just want to remove all the whey I can. So I'll do that later when you guys aren't around. But here is the whey. So even if I don't get as much as I need, that is okay, because I can use a little powdered milk in my dough. And then, tonight, instead of eating ice cream, I'm trying not to get any of my whey in here. So this turned out really good, and so it's storable. And I'm saving the containers because I want to make my yogurt in the containers. So in my refrigerator. So here's the fry bread. Just mix 1 cup flour, 1/2 tablespoon baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon salt, and then you can add 1/4 cup powdered milk if you want. Mix 1 cup hot water or whey. Mix and knead a little and let rest mix and knead it till you get a nice soft dough. Put a little oil in a bowl and kind of coat your dough and let it set 20-30 minutes and fry it in some oil, and that way, that is a good little meal right there. One of the things to worry about is that you always have oil. So I switched from shelf-stable milk to evaporated milk because I don't want anything happening to my cans. Then I bought, because I noticed these, 1 of these balsamic vinegar dressings and 1 ranch for $1.49, because I use this one the most often, and this is the one I really love. So that much salad dressing lasts one person a while. Okay, here is the high dollar thing I bought. 1 box of cream of wheat. Okay, this stuff is the exact same amount as a small box of oatmeal. $6, enough for 15 days. So $3 a week. So say 25 cents a day is still not bad, but it is expensive. But the bodybuilders, a lot of times, and this is a wheat product, which we could see problems as well. So you can put fruit on it. A lot of the bodybuilders, they don't eat that much fruit, so they put big piles of blueberries on there and berries. But I prefer just like 1/4 cup of raisins or dry fruit. So I'm just stockpiling a little. And then these are expensive. These are $3 now. You saw last night that I made that very successful Alfredo meal. So I bought this, and I could make, and I might make, a beef stroganoff with my my beef, maybe, just like I did the Alfredo. You cook the noodles. I have these really good noodles from Aldi's. I bought these a long time ago, and they're good until $3.29.26. So when the water is halfway, cooked down, add evaporated milk the same way, the same amount as the water. You'll probably have, I could put ham, I could put beef, I could put hamburger, turkey burger, about 1/4 pound, and then some broccoli or some peas, or in this case mushrooms, and you have a nice big meal. So this was expensive. I think it's worth it because you're getting 2 nice big meals. They don't end up to be that expensive when you cook them that way. So that was what I made. Now I want to mention about the bowls. Back to eating food you like. So think about carbs. So what I bought this week is I bought a 5-pound bag of good rice. See how I have it closed up? And I am going to be putting this stuff in as soon as I get around to it. Big baggies. I don't want any dust, anything in my food. I was so glad that was a squirrel in my backyard. So then pasta. So like if we start getting broke, we just add more carbs. And then grits. They have grits in the bag, the big one, for $5, I think 5 pounds. I'm thinking about that one if I can find a long expiration date. And then oatmeal, you know, a big bowl of oatmeal. You can put your powdered milk in your oatmeal and then just, you know, cook it until you get enough milk. So more carbs. Most of us who have been on low carb diets wouldn't really like to do that, but we probably wouldn't like to be going around hungry. We probably wouldn't like that, or you know, no one would like that. Okay. All right. So we should all be on the same page. All right. So that was the stockpile. Okay, now, now I want to do make your week easier. Okay, this week I made granola. I still have it in here. Sometimes I eat a lot of granola and sometimes not as much. Here it is. I do have lids for those. Peanut butter, you know, make your own. Why do you want to buy it when you can make your own and you know exactly what's in it? Nothing's in it. Peanuts are in it. That's why I don't know where I put it. Homemade peanut butter, yogurt, fry bread, biscuits, potato salad, and coleslaw. I am considering buying those, tell you the truth, because I'm trying to make my life easier. Maybe not potato salad, but maybe coleslaw. Baked beans, I think I make good baked beans. Applesauce, and then applesauce bread. You saw me can the applesauce. And I'll be doing some more water bath canning. I just use a pan, you know, my jars, and I boil them. And then homemade jam. That's one of the easiest things, and this is the season for it. So, okay, I don't want to move past. I do not want to move away from meat, carb. Okay, now think about this. Meat, well, carb, meat, sauce or cheese, sauce with cheese and vegetables. Okay, now I want to talk to you guys about something. This seems like the same thing, but it's not. Think about making, let's say you're in some situation, you could make the best of it, or you could don't do anything to make it worse. Okay, when you're making the best of it, you know, you're kind of adjusting to the situation and making, you know, it could be totally disagreeable and making the best of it. Or what I have always done is try not to make the situation any worse. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay, when I got a divorce, I go, whoa, this is bad. Oh, this is, there's bad, there's really bad, and there's really, really bad. So this was really, really bad in my mind because I was raising my son. So, okay, we had to have a dwelling. So I lived in 3 apartments that I found to be really disagreeable, but they were good enough we could survive in there. They had heat of sorts and air of sorts. Not really good ones like those wall units. Have you ever been to a cheap motel in Las Vegas with a wall unit air conditioner? It was kind of like that. It wasn't hot enough to kill you, but it wasn't cool enough to keep you comfortable. So we had these dwellings. You need water, and right now I think it's very important to make sure your water is filled. And I tend to let mine go down. It is so stupid because if the grid goes down, the water's going to go off. So the minute something like that goes wrong, you want to do everything. You want to fill your above ground pool, you want to fill trash cans, you want to fill your bathtub, and hopefully you have water. So we had water, and then I think what helped me is I wasn't always poor. That's why I knew it was going to be so bad. So I thought, okay, I'm not sacrificing my son's school, no matter what, because I had this small window to educate him, and I knew if I dropped that, like my husband used to say, he was a help, we're screwed. That was mostly when he was screwed, and he was when he said but I knew if I didn't get my son educated, we were really going to be screwed. So I paid for private school, and we lived so lowly, except for, like, you're seeing the food I eat, that's pretty much the way we ate. And it was pretty close to what I used to eat when I had more money. Not exactly, though. Okay, so now I mean, it got so bad I didn't have a phone, I didn't have a car, I would wear my clothes. I mean, it was horrible. And, you know, I'm sending my son to this nice private school, and this is hilarious to me. I'd be working in the salons, and people from the school came in, and they remembered me, and I thought, yeah, that's because we were like the school eyesore. I was also the one, though, who bought the Decor bats for baseball, and, you know, back to making the best, not making the best, getting by. So let's think about it in another way. Let's think about don't make it any worse. So, like, the worst thing in my mind would be that we didn't have food to keep us healthy, and we wouldn't have education for our future. But if I was going to make the best of it, perhaps I would have done things different. I remember my ex-husband's girlfriend and my husband were driving me home because I didn't have a car. And my ex-husband's girlfriend, she was a welfare supervisor. I go, that's so funny because you're practically ending me up on it. But anyway, she goes, well, the people who work for me can't afford that. I go, listen, they are driving new cars, they own a house, and, you know, that's why they can't afford it. So maybe I would have said, well, I'm going to make the best of this. We can't afford school. Or, no telling what I would have done. So I would be adjusting like society says you're supposed to. Maybe I would have had a phone. Anyway, so just think about that. Okay, think about disagreeable situations. If you're making the best of it in a way you're accepting you're making the best of this, it could go on indefinitely. But also, if you don't make any worse, don't make it any worse. Like, don't drop the school because you can't go back. Don't eat poor food and rot all your teeth out and get sick. Okay, so think about making the best of it. That is a good idea, to be optimistic. But also, the don't making it any worse is at the certain point you're at. If it's any worse, it's just that much further back up. Does that make sense? Okay, now I want to talk about home decor. Okay, I'm getting somewhere. The AI helped me. I asked them to create a garden tropical living room decor. It's on my Rhoda Stone Instagram, and I really loved it. And I thought, instead of buying new pillows, new carpets, new stuff, just and I was checking out the plants. Here's some of my little plants. See how pretty they look amongst my flowers? And I'm checking out, I got a palm tree about a month or so, and now I'm looking for like some ferns. And then I'm going to add more green, which is going to go good with my Christmas, and it's not going to cost much. So I wanted to mention something. I was a workaholic, and people say I lost my identity. I didn't know what I liked, what I didn't like. I did know what I didn't like, but what I didn't realize a lot was what I liked, because I was always just trying to don't make it worse. So what I really love is like beach stuff. That's why I live by the beach. I like tropical type stuff, like, more like a coastal vibe. So that I figured out after how many years? Okay, now I want to talk about this book selling. Somebody said to me, and I really had to laugh, you don't read much. What I do, I almost did the stupidest thing. I almost sold one of my books, Dreamthorpe. Okay, one of my friends was a literature teacher. And so the thing about literature, why it's a bona fide work of art, is that it either takes you to the place that the story takes place, or it like transforms your thinking into like maybe a higher realm, let's hope not a lower realm. So the 3 books, so I got my book out and I said, I'm not selling this. And the first story in it, they're like short stories. So this is how you can read 3 books at a time, which I usually do, plus the Bible. But its story is about a man. It's supposed to be a man, but in a way it could probably be a spirit. That's another thing. A lot of these books have a spiritual component, whether they be religion, or it could be water spirits, it could be spirits on the earth. But he roams around really he's not satisfied anywhere until he comes to this particular place and he describes it, and it's amazing. And then another book that I read constantly, and this is a bona fide literature work of art, is Sherlock Holmes. And if you don't like to read, you can listen to the ebooks. Then the latest thing I've been buying, and they're very expensive, is L. Ron Hubbard. So Battleground Earth, I'm going to read that. And his books he used to say that they were real places, real events, real times, and they really are. They're just not on this realm, and it's really fascinating. I think he has one of the great minds of the 20th century. And also David Miscavige, who has like saved the church. A lot of people go, that is not a religion. Well, it has pretty much every component of a religion, just not a Christian religion. So he's such a genius. Some people might not like it. A lot of people don't like other people's religions, but that is their problem. Okay, so that's the 3 books I'm reading. Just wanted to mention that. So you can get yourself, what I'm trying to do is get a little library going, and it is just a big ordeal. Okay, so now I want to talk about one more thing, and then I am done for tonight. I'm watching these prophecy channels, and I'm thinking, you are no prophet. I'm sorry. Is this the end of times? Here's what we look at. Persecution of the saints. Okay, the persecution will be extreme. It's not going to be just blocking you off of, the social network. We're looking for persecution. Like, I remember one story, now this is persecution. The Adventists were trying to preach the gospel in Africa. So the Africans were tired of it where they were and wanted to get rid of them. So they got the pastor, and he said, and they were attacking all the Christians. He said, tell them to go to the church where they'll be safe, or we're going to kill you and your family. The guy did it, and they were all killed. That's persecution. Number 2, I believe the end of times, we will see an invasion of America. So if you're watching current events, we see the Ukrainians attacking Russia. I'm talking about an invasion, but where a country, or you can say the other way around, and the people seem to have been caught unaware. This is why you want a bug out bag. This is why you want a car to make haste. So invasion of America. Okay, sometimes I think about where would the invasion come from. I would say it'd be from the southern border. This is why, in my mind, what happened with this Ukrainian attack on Russia is they overcame the border. But I don't think it would happen at San Diego. But fortunately, where I live, I can be up and out of here. I have the Tecate Mountains, but we have the Navy and the Marines here. But that is a long, I think it's so important. People don't see it, but they don't live on a border town either. Invasion of America. Number 3, okay, I watch Foreign Prophecy. They go, if Egypt fails, watch out, people. I could see that. Okay, this is a bad one. Jesus leaves the land. Okay, I don't believe he has left America, but if he does, that is going to be so bad. So, like, the country would be so grievous and corrupt, he could literally leave. Starvation. Massive starvation. Okay, they mentioned climate change, but one of the worst would be drought, because then the crops wouldn't fail. That's why we have to grow food. Okay, inability to grow crops. Okay, one of the curses of Cain was the earth will not yield you a crop. That's a curse. Okay, this is why I was watching this news, and it was on J.D. Vance, and he had like in the Appalachians a business where they grew tomatoes. I go, oh, attack that, whatever you do, for us to grow food. And so what I got out of that is that the food growing place was like in a sophisticated greenhouse. So I bought one greenhouse, but I think the guy told me why my plants failed. One, they were seeds from my food, which could have been Terminator seeds, and 2, they weren't healthy enough plants to begin with. So, okay, so growing food, maybe in a greenhouse, for whatever reason. For one thing, it keeps your plants free of chemicals. All right, number 6, confiscation of the Bibles. Has this ever happened? Yes, it happened in China. In fact, the church had to go underground, and the only way they were able to overcome this was the members had to memorize a portion of the Bible, and each week that member would present the Bible. That's why you want to read your Bible. So it's happened before. Okay? Calling good bad and bad good. Okay, at this time, most of us can go, oh, that is bad. That is bad, that is really bad. But in the end of times, people will not be able to discern good from bad. They just won't know. One of the things that happened in the Garden of Eden is they had, the intellect was reduced. So the sin will reduce your intellect. So you'll literally become darker, but you'll also become denser. And that was one of the curses of the angels when they fell, is because they became more dense and they couldn't remain in heaven. These are just things where, don't attack me. This is just some things. Okay, earthquakes. They've told us there's going to be earthquakes. We've had a couple earthquakes in Southern California, scary ones really. Lightning. Okay, what is so bad about lightning is lightning can strike a structure, but it also can cause fires. So lightning here is very dangerous because, you know, we have all this dry bush. Okay, number 10, 3 days of darkness. Okay, we have not seen like something covering the sun and or for whatever reason, we have not seen 3 days of darkness. Also, I didn't write this, but the 2 prophets. There will be 2 prophets that will proclaim the news, probably of Jesus, and so they will just get on people's nerves to the point that they will be murdered in the street, and they'll just leave the bodies there. I think after 3 days they will arise. Also, I've heard some erroneous predictions about these two witnesses. One, they could be angels, like in Sodom and Gomorrah, but wouldn't it make sense if one was Elijah in the New Testament and John the Baptist Elijah in the Old Testament and John the Baptist in the New Testament? So always, like most missionaries, now they're not doing this. I think it's so dangerous. They're told to go 2 by 2 because where 2 or more are gathered, there am I in the midst of them. But there will be 2 witnesses. We haven't seen that yet. Okay, now I want to talk about a prophecy that I do think was legit. Most of them are just the person's opinion. You can consider that just my opinion, but if something like any of those happen, that means we're moving closer to the end. Now, there was a prophecy when the COVID started. It was Whitfield Harrington, and he said stockpile canning jars. So I bought a few, but then, I lost my fear. So my son said, do you have canning jars? So what I would suggest is I think he wants to make iced tea in his. But I want to mention something, and it's about these canning jars. These require a small lid, which is probably cheaper. And then you can drink out of these. And then these big jars are nice. I wrecked my olives. And then the yogurt containers. So if something happens, those are really going to save us. So be thinking about that. Okay, you guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And God bless you all. Bye, you guys.